Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another exciting tutorial. If this is your first time here, my name is Dima, and on today's tutorial I'm going to be sharing with you how to make this beautiful pencil skirt with pleat around the end. So if this is something you'd like to learn, definitely keep on watching, and if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, hit on that subscribe button and also turn on your notification. And these are the materials I'm going to be using for this tutorial. I have the main fabric and the one I'm going to be using for the pleat around the end. So I've already cutted the front and the back side. I'm just going to explain to you the way I did that. As you can see here, this is the front side, and it's in a fold. The waist measurement I used for this is 30 inches, and I divided it by 4 to get my waist, and the hip measurement I use is 40 and divided it by 4 as well. If I divide by 4, what I'll have is 10 inches. The end is also 10 inches because I wanted it to be the same size as the hip, and the length of this skirt is going to be 19 inches. As you can see at the end, there is a line there. That is where the length is going to be stopping, but the extra fabric I have after that length is going to be folded in with the lining. And I also went up by 1 inches as well as 1 inches on the waist to get something like a curve, because the front side is not going to be having a dart. And for the back piece, from the beginning I have 1.5 inches that will serve as my zipper allowance, and I also added 1 inch as well for the dart, because the back is going to be having a dart. And after doing that, I went ahead to cut it out on my lining. I folded my lining into 2 as well. Then I make sure to cut it following the line I have. After cutting the lining, I make sure to leave about few inches in at the waist part, because I don't want the situation whereby after sewing I found out that the lining I cut was not enough. So as a beginner, you have to do it that way so that at the end of the day you have a very good result. I cut the lining for the back first before cutting for the front part, and after doing that, I head over to my sewing machine to sew it out from the wrong part. This is the way I placed my lining. I went over to the sewing machine to sew it, and after doing that, this is the way it's looking. I went ahead to turn it over to the right side following the waist, because I didn't stitch it down. And after turning it over to the right side, I ironed it out with my scissors. I iron it out with my iron rather. And this is how it's looking after ironing. So I'll head over to the sewing machine again to sew the waist side. And remember, I have 1.5 inches for the dart. I went ahead to mark it out, then hold it with my pin so that I will be able to follow the line and stitch them together. And after that, I also mark out the dart of the back following the zipper allowance. At the zipper allowance, I went in with about 4 inches, which is my nipple to nipple measurement, and I came down with 5 inches for the dart. After doing that, I went ahead to cut the pieces that I'll be using for the pleat with this material, and I cut it out with about 6 inches. So after sewing, I'll have about 3 inches for the pleat. I make sure to cut the piece that will go round the down part. That is, it's going to be about two of what I have of the measurement I have for the down part, so that it will come out very nice. After cutting, I use the remaining piece for the waistband because the material I have is not enough for me to use for the waist, so I use this same material for the waist, and I cut it out with about 3 inches, and with the length that I know that it will be able to go around the waist, with the width rather, that I know that it will be able to go around the waist. And after that, I ironed my interfacing to it. The interfacing I'm using for this is the gum stay. It's going to make it to sit very well, so that you have your desired output. I ironed it out very well. The important secret about sewing is that you have to iron at every point in time. Iron before sewing and you iron after sewing. And with that, whatever you sew will come out very neat. Iron helps a lot in sewing. So whenever you're going to maybe learn sewing, or you want to sew, you must make sure that you have your iron at hand. And after ironing it, I went over to sew the piece that I'm going to be using for the plate. I folded it into 2 right side facing each other, and I sewed it with about 1/2 inch. And after sewing, I turn it over to the right side, and I also ironed it out with my iron. Like you can see, it's very long because I wanted it to be able to go around the waist, and I will have the result that I'm looking for. And yes, I ironed it out with my pressing iron. Make sure to iron it very well to get your desired result. I have sewn the zipper allowance as well as the dart, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just trying to confirm that I did the right thing. So the next thing to do now is to take my measurement, and I'm going to be doing that from the back part. Remember, the waist measurement I use is 30 inches, and that divided by 4 is 7.5, and I went down with about 8 inches to get from my hip point, and I also mark my hip round measurement, which is 14 inches divided by 4. I remember that I have the same measurement for the hip and the down part as well. And after marking it, I'm going to do the same thing I did to this other side, to this other side and I joined it together with the front piece, and I went over to the sewing machine to sew it. And this is how it's looking after sewing. You can see our skirt is almost getting ready. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to indicate where my zip is going to stop, and also the slits for this skirt. From the waist, I went down with about 7 inches for the zip. And after doing that, what I'm going to do next is to fix the waistband, and I'm going to be doing that following the zipper allowance. After sewing it this way, I'm going to fold it out to the front to sew it so that the band will sit very well. And after doing that, I went ahead to also attach my zipper. You can see the way I place the zip. That is the right way of sewing your zip to your skirt. Just attach it this way. And after that, this is the way my skirt is looking presently. Like you can see, the skirt is almost ready. What is left now is to add the pleat to it. And I went from the end of the skirt, I went up with about half an inch so that I'll be able to sew the pleat. And here I'm already sewing this pleat. I follow the one half an inch that I mark out to sew it. And yeah, our skirt is almost ready. Thank you so much for watching this video to this point. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please hit on that subscribe button. Also turn on your notifications so you'll be the first to be notified whenever I post a video. And this is the desired output. Thank you so much for watching this video to this end, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.